Welcome to Moving Mattresses and 3-inch Heels, celebrating women and the many hats and shoes they wear. Here we will dive into the ups and downs of womanhood with humor, heart, and wisdom, empowering you every step of the way. I'm Julia Jordan, and I'm thrilled to partner with you on this journey. Now you may be asking yourself, what the heck does moving mattresses and 3-inch heels mean? Well, it's literal. I was literally moving a mattress in 3-inch heels, my favorite pair no less. And I came to the realization that not only can women do anything, we do everything. We're going to focus on 5 pillars: metabolism, meditation, mental health, menopause, and I would be remiss if I didn't add the 5th, medical. It occurred to me when I was putting these metrics together, all 5 of the words do something that most women do not, and that is start with M-E. Start with me. So I'm going to amend my previous statement. Women can do anything, and we do everything, except prioritize ourselves. But it's time to. It's time for us to start with me. If you're ready to laugh, learn, and leap into a healthier, happier you, hit that subscribe button and join our wellness family. Let's go on this journey together of self-consideration as we discover how to start with me. Welcome to the first episode of Moving Mattresses and 3-inch Heels. I am your host, Julia Jordan, and I am so excited to be doing this. I've thought about it for years, but never took the leap, but I am now. Now, normally I'm going to be having guests, but today I'm on my own and I will be performing my own stunts. So we'll see how this goes. I guess I should start with, how did I come up with this name? Well, it's literal. I was literally moving a mattress in 3-inch heels. I was going out with one of my best girlfriends. She lived downtown in a mid-rise, and it made sense for me to drive to her place since we were going out downtown. And we're talking back in the day, like less than 20 years ago, but more than 15, when I actually still liked going out. And I walk into her condo and there's a mattress leaning up against the wall. And I said, doing here? And she's like, oh my God, you have to help me. And I'm like, help you do what? And she said, move this mattress. It has to go out tonight. And I just said to her, but look at us. We look phenomenal. The hair, the makeup, the clothes. And have you seen my shoes? They're everything. I loved these shoes. They're not my all-time favorite pair of shoes. They were definitely in my top 3. These things were beautiful. They were champagne silk they were slingback shoes with open toe, probably about a 1/4 inch strip along the back of my toe with multicolored, neutral colored crystals, browns, black, champagne. They're absolutely beautiful. The only mistake I made about buying these shoes was not buying a second pair because they were beautiful. I miss those shoes. But anyway, back to my story about moving a mattress in 3-inch heels. So we get into the parking garage and I'm pushing and I look down and I'm like, I'm literally moving a mattress in 3-inch heels. And I started thinking about how that really embodies women. We do everything and we look good doing it. And for better or worse, the name of my podcast really embodies women, that we have to look, we think, we have to look perfect, be perfect, do everything perfectly. And we feel guilty when we don't achieve perfect without giving ourselves the grace of knowing that perfection is impossible. And the best example I can give about that and how ingrained it is in our upbringing and in our society is Amelia Earhart. I loved Amelia Earhart growing up. She just inspired me. She pursued her dream no matter what, even though she wasn't really supposed to. You think about being a pilot as a woman, it's still considered a man's job. And you think about how difficult it is now to do jobs that are still considered a man's job. The majority of my career I spent in finance and investments, and that's still considered a man's job. And the Boys Club does not like when women do their job, and they really don't like when you do it better than they do. Take it from me. I know firsthand. So anyway, as difficult as it is now, imagine back then a woman doing a man's job. And a pilot was certainly considered a man's job, but she pursued it no matter what. And I would always read books on her and watch documentaries on her. And when I was in elementary school, if there was a book report to be done, I was doing it. on her. I still to this day will watch some documentaries on Amelia Earhart. And probably a few years ago, I saw one. And it was about when she was learning to fly. And she was the co pilot. And there was a pilot in front. And the media was all waiting for them. Well, probably more than likely waiting for her when they landed. And so they landed. The pilot was a man and he got right out. And Amelia stayed back. And I was watching to see what she was doing. The next thing I know, she is pulling out a compound, opening it up, outering her nose. And I'm just like, even Amelia Earhart cares what other people think? She was worried what other people thought of her appearance, even though she was accomplishing what she was accomplishing. And it really just blew my mind. And I couldn't fathom someone as iconic and as accomplished as Amelia Earhart actually caring what other people think. But that's something that we as women typically default to, is we care about other people's opinion. And it's okay to care about people, but a lot of times we put everyone else in front of ourselves. So what I want this podcast to be about is learning how to prioritize ourselves and have self-consideration and understand that self-care is a necessity that doesn't need an apology. I came up with 5 pillars. What's interesting is coincidentally, all 5 of them do something that most women do not. And that is start with ME, start with me. So that's going to be part of our journey. The 5 metrics are metabolism, meditation, menopause, mental health, and medical. Starting with metabolism. People's metabolisms are different. Some people's are faster than others. So what we want to learn about is our diet, and not being on a diet, but our intake, food, supplements, nutrients in general. What's best for our metabolism type, and creating a plan around that. The second pillar will be meditation. Now, meditation is not what you think. Well, actually, it's exactly what you think. It's what we focus on. When we focus on something, there is a meditation to it. So it's about focusing on the right things. It's about being present in our own presence. And if we're lucky enough, finding 5 or 10 minutes of quiet to start our day by ourselves. It's about self-care and learning the balance between saying yes and no, and becoming the best version of ourselves. The third pillar that we're going to be focusing on is menopause. I know it's a dirty word. I don't like the word either. But here's a fact. Women either are going through it, have gone through it, or will go through it. It is inescapable. It is a fact of life. It is nature. We cannot control it. The problem is we don't talk about it enough because there's still a stigma attached to it. Now, the information is out there. You can get the information, but you have to dig. For some reason, it's still not mainstream. I want to talk about it more because there's only those couple of symptoms that people know about, but there's so many things that are symptoms in menopause that we have to understand and learn about. So it's about meeting you where you are in this journey and talking about concerns and solutions. The fourth metrics that we're going to be focusing on is mental health. And it's not just talking about anxiety and depression. It's really talking about the root causes of anxiety and depression. For example, finance. Finance is on the top of most people's list of what causes anxiety and depression. Or how about body image? There's a good one. Body image is like Pandora's box and a can of worms had a baby. For most women, if not all women, we have some sort of an issue there. So it's bringing positivity to light when it comes to them. But we want to focus on root causes. If there's trauma, loss, and what those trigger that is manifesting in our lives and how to address those so we can overcome them. And then the last pillar is medical. If I didn't add medical, I thought it would be an oversight, considering that the other 4 pillars do also overlap into medical. It's getting the right healthcare providers, being diagnosed properly. A lot of times we get misdiagnosed and we're not being taken seriously. So where do we find the providers that know what our concerns are and will help us through? But also insurance. It says affordable healthcare, but I don't know who it's affordable for. So looking into that as well. Now, as we go through this journey, I want to bring in experts on each show that we can take a deep dive and educate ourselves in these topics, and also hopefully have a laugh or two along the way. One thing I promise you I will ask my guests, because I love knowing this about people, is what's the best advice you ever got? Now, I had to think about that for myself because I don't like asking questions that I can't answer myself. And I thought about it and I remembered the best advice I ever got was from a business coach that I worked with probably about 18 years ago. And we were talking about mentorship. I was transitioning from being in an operations admin support role in finance to going into more of an executive role. And although I was more than qualified, I was intimidated. So we were talking about mentorships. And I don't know how I took a hard left into asking for help would make me selfish, but I did, because that was me then. So my business coach asked me, what do you consider being selfish? And when I told him, his response was, that's not being selfish. Those are basic human needs. And then he challenged me that week to put myself in positions that I considered myself selfish. And he told me the reason he wanted me to do that is I needed to unlearn what I learned growing up. He said my parents conditioned me. They did not raise me. And I had to reprogram and reparent myself to be the person that I actually am and take the actions that are actually important to me. It opened up a whole new world to me. It's still an exercise I have to work on it. Would love for it to come more naturally than it does, but I still work on it. And it's really, like I said, opened up a world to me. And then recently, the best advice I gave myself was starting with me. And it doesn't mean don't do things for others. It's just having that balance. I found a question that really works for me and helps me be consistent. And that question is, would I do it for someone I love? And if the answer is yes, then my next question is, then why wouldn't I do it for myself? And so I've allowed myself to have that consistency of self-consideration. And that's what this journey is about. It is about remembering ourselves, prioritizing ourselves. And I believe there really has been a cultural shift. I think women in their 20s to, let's say, early 30s know how to prioritize themselves, know how to unapologetically be themselves, set boundaries, and refuse and become immovable. If you think about that age and do some quick math, those were our daughters. We taught our girls how to be unapologetically themselves. We've taught them how to be a priority to themselves. So we know how to do it because we've taught our girls. Now all we need to do is implement it for ourselves. And that's what this podcast is going to be about. You can think about it as our new era, our second act. And to me, a second act is a significant transition from life as we know it to life as we create it. And that's what we're going to do. Start building life as we create it. I would love to hear from you. I want to know your concerns, things you'd like to talk about and learn more about. My first episode will be coming out soon. I look forward to hearing from you, and I will see you soon. Thank you for joining me today on Moving Mattresses and 3-inch Heels. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest tips for living your best life. Until next time, stay fabulous, and remember, your wellness journey matters. Self-care is a necessity, and it does not require an apology. I'll see you soon.